Here we go. A new Gemara. Omar Reish Lakish. Grado. I don't know if it's a nice thing to say or not. A Gishmak Gemara. Every Gemara is Gishmak, but I don't know. Omar Reish Lakish. Here we go. Kohanim. Thank you very much. Kohanim Bale Mumim Nechnasim Bein Ha'ulam V'Lam Mizbeach. A kohen. Thank you very much. A kohen who is a Bal Mum is allowed to enter Bein Ha'ulam V'Lam Mizbeach, between the ulam and the mizbeach. Now, we're talking about mizbeach hachitzon. Let's do a very quick, terrible sketch. Don't worry, you'll see it on Zoom also. It's that good. Here we go. That was nice. Here is your Beis Hamikdash. You guys see it?
Yeah.
This is high quality. Kodesh HaKodashim, Heichal. This is the ulam. This area down here with the mizbeach hachitza and the outer mizbeach. When they walked around the mizbeach for the din of mitzvah of arava, they walked around the mizbeach hachitza. The problem is this area known as the ulam. This area usually is only allowed to be entered by kohanim who are kshirim, not a kohen who's a balmum. You're not even allowed to get in here. Now there's already the Ezras Nashim, the Azara, that, Yisraelim really could only go over here. Yisraelim go here, this is kohanim, and then this is mamish beis hamidrash, kodesh HaKodashim. So, says Reish Lakish, a kohen who's a balmum is allowed to go in to be Yaitse the mitzvah of Arava. Now, let's think together. Why? Favos. Why would he be allowed if he's never allowed? So what would the Olam suggest? Anyone have any suggestions? Anyone? So we just finished saying the mitzvah of Arava in the Beis Hamikdash is a Daraisa. No, in the Beis Hamikdash is Daraisa. Right? That was the whole end of Yesi. Begvulin, you're right, is Daraban. In the Beis Hamikdash, it's Daraisa. So clearly, he's learning. We don't know what the Isser of going in if you're a Balmum. But clearly, he's learning the mitzvah to go in for the mitzvah of Arava is a higher level than the Isser to go in when you are a Balmum. That's the Chiddush of Reish Lakish. Now, just parenthetically, look all the way at the top. Look at Tosfos, 2 lines from the top. Tosfos points out, if we were to ask what level of Isser is it for a Kohen Balmum to enter, he's not a kosher Kohen. Is this the only type of not kosher Kohen? The answer is no. There's other types of not kosher Kohen. For example, if he did not get a haircut. If a Kohen did not get a haircut, he's a roish. He's not allowed to do the avodah. So Tosfos learns a fascinating Tosfos. Look at Tosfos, 2 lines from the top. Kohanim balmum, hu adin. The same din is true. Hey means hu adin. Dahave matzi lemimar. The Gemara could have said uperue roish, a Kohen that grows out his hair. Why? Ditzarvayu asiri, because they're both usher to go into the ulam. Ilav, if not for Mishom Arava, and he brings a raya to his din. Just a fascinating tidbit. There are some shittas that learn that a Yisrael would also be allowed to go in for this mitzvah of Arava. Now that's something that doesn't really make sense in our minds, so let's not go in there. But
aren't all mitzvahs that happen in the Beis Hamikdash deraisa?
No,
That Rava a different din. If he can't go in normally as a Balman.
You might be asking the Gemara's kasha. So before understanding your question, let's look at the Gemara. I think you're asking the Gemara's question. You're asking that the Isser of going in when you're a Balmum is the Isser to do Avodah when you're a Balmum, and this is called Avodah.
The avodah is
Good.
the Torah too.
Let's get there. Zakta Hiligi Gemara. That's the din of Reish Lakish. Amrli Rav Yochanan, says Rav Yochanan to Reish Lakish. Mi Amra. Who said this din? Who said that there's an obligation to do arava, and therefore you're allowed to go in when you are a balmon? Retorts the Gemara, Mi Amra? The Gemara is talking now. Ha-ihu Amar. But he said it. Let's get that reading again. A little bit of a difficult reading.
He himself?
He, Rav Yochanan.
How is he asking?
No, meaning. Amar le Rav Yochanan. Rav Yochanan fires to Reish Lakish. Mi Amar. Who says this thing that there's an obligation to go around the Mizbeach, the mitzvah Arava? Who said there's an obligation? So the Gemara interjects, and the Gemara says, 1 second. Mi Amra. Who says it? Ha-ihu Amar. But he, Rav Yochanan, is the one that said the din. Where do we know this from? This was yesterday. The Amar Rav Asi, that Rav Asi said, Amar Rabbi Yochanan. Mishom Rav Nechonia ish b'ka'as beis churtan. So what did Rabbi Yochanan say? He was the shita that said these 3 halachos, aser netiyos, arava, nisach hamayim, or halacha l'moshe misinai. So what is Rabbi Yochanan's kasha? Again, the Gemara is getting caught up in who said what said, but that's what the Gemara does. Reish Lakish said a din that a kohen balbom is allowed to go into the ulam to perform the mitzvah of Arav. Rav Yochanan stands up and says, "Whoa, who said it's an obligation?" The Gemara fires back. Who said it's an obligation? Rabbi Yochanan, you're the one that said it's an obligation. You said it's a halacha l'moshe misinai. So responds the Gemara. So what did Rav Yochanan mean? He's not a fool. Just picture the scene. Rish Lakish is giving shir. Rish Lakish says a chiddush. What's the chiddush? A kohen balmom is allowed to go do the mitzvah arava. Rav Yochanan from the back or the front of the shir says, "Who said there's a chiyuv to do the mitzvah arava?" So some that kid in the back yells out, "Who said it? Rav Yochanan, you're the one that said it. You said there's halacha l'moshe misinai." So the Gemara says, obviously, it's not what Rav Yochanan meant. Rav Yochanan didn't mean that mi amra, who says there's a chiyuv. Ella rather explains the Gemara. Mi amra, this should sound familiar. Mi amra binitila. Who told you that the mitzvah of arava is binitila, is by walking around the mizbeach? And if the mitzvah would be walking around the mizbeach, then a kohen balmum would be allowed. Says the Gemara, Dilma, perhaps bizikifa. Maybe the mitzvah is to stand it up around the mizbeach. That was Rav Yochanan's kasha. Now Rav Yochanan's next kasha is Mi Amra Ba'alei Mumin. Who said it's allowed to be done with a balmum? Dilma bitimimim. Which surely this is really your kasha. You, Rav Yishlakish, what was your old chiddush? Your old chiddush was there's a chiyuv, so it could even be done if you're a balmum. Says Rav Yochanan, I understand. Maybe the chiyuv is for a kohen who's fit to work in the base of Mikdash, for a tam, for a complete kohen. So it's a dual kasha that Rav Yochanan is bothered by. Number one, so that would be the reason of what? That would be Reish Lakish's reason. Very good, very good. Meaning, why did Reish Lakish say to start, right? We started off, we said, what would be the reason that a kohen balmum would be allowed? The answer is, the asay of taking the arava would be deicha v'loisa asay of entering the base of Mikdash when you have a mum. That would be the reason. The reason is a little bit more complicated is because we don't always say asay deicha loisa asay, of course. But that would be the reason. That definitely would be the Pashup shot. So now, the second kasha, so Rav Yochanan is asking 2 kashas. Number one, who said it's talking about taking the arava, walking around? Maybe it just means standing up the aravas. And number 2, who says by a balmum, maybe it's all with a tam. And that's the end of the Gemara. It's the end of the Gemara. So, very short shtickle Gemara. Nice and simple. What's going on here? Rish Lakish has a din. Rav Yechanan has two kashas. It's really very simple. Rish Lakish said a din, a kohen ba'amum is allowed to go in. Rav Yechanan says, why? What's his why? Not why, who said that there's a chiyuv in the first place, but why? Because maybe the whole mitzvah of arava is standing up the aravas around the mizbeach.
What's the difference? Either way, you're walking around or you're standing up.
Oh, because if the mitzvah was to stand it up, whose mitzvah was it? Every kohen? So the Gemara is assuming that if the mitzvah is to walk around, then every kohen has a mitzvah to walk around. But if the mitzvah is to stand the aravos around the mizbeach, then let one kohen do it. Let two kohanim do it. Why punk this kohen who's about mum has to do it? Let someone else do it. So that's what the Gemara's kasha is.
What the requirement is.
Good. So that's part of this. That the Gemara is suggesting that it would be able to be done by someone else. Now,
Is it also suggesting that if it's Natila, then that's the Raisa? Because
it is no. It definitely would be deraisa. That would be
if it's
correct.
Kifa, then there's no real Makar.
No. If it's a key, it would also be deraisa. It would be the same halach l'moshe Sinai, which we're about to see in a moment. If that's a deraisa or not, but the pasha says that is a deraisa.
We discussed
Oh.
earlier about Zakifa
But what do we establish? You go back to Mem Gimel Amud Aleph. There's a big problem over here. What did the Gemara say? The Gemara tried this route already. The Gemara tried to say it's bizakifa. And what did the Gemara respond? I'm sorry. I gave you the wrong place. It's Mem Gimel Beis. Where is it again? We'll just do this. We should know this. One second. The Gemara just finished teaching us that this is not a possibility. The Gemara said that it can't be bizkifa. Where's the Gemara?
Gimel stays in the middle.
Gimel base in the middle. Here we go.
Yeah.
Oh, so what did the Gemara respond?
Midi area. This is where we have.
Midiaria, hakdiza, hakdiza. The Gemara tried to prove my lavelulav afa rava ben atila elakasham rabbi zeman lim lam rava ben atila dum bizkifa. Meaning the Gemara fell off of that answer. The pashtus is, meaning the Gemara suggested it. Then Esei Abaya lulav Rav Shish v'Sheva my lav kilula my lulav ben atila afa rava ben atila says the Gemara maybe not. Esei Abaya again. Skul Chazara. Choyom Akivas Bnei Pamach. Zim Shabam My Lav Rava Lablu. I've not going to Rava. Amalei Hormal Rava Nami Lulav. It's Mar. They made all the different opinions, but the bottom line is the Gemara seemingly is concluding that it's what. Not bizkifa, right? What was the final line to tonight? Choyom Akivas Bnei Pamach. Zim Akivas Bnei Shabam Belulav. So the Rishonim here are very bothered. If you want to know. That the Gemara
with the what's it called?
The Gemara seemed
Under the rock.
so the Gemara seemed to have concluded after all the back and forth. The Gemara seemed to have concluded that the mitzvah arava is benetila. So why here are we circling back around that havamina? It is definitely a good question. Okay, let's go shtikl weiter. Itzma. Rav Yechanan, Rav Yeshua ben Levi. Two people are talking. One is Rav Yechanan, one is Rav Yeshua ben Levi. What are they talking about? Chad Amar. One of them says, Arava Yisoid Nevi'im. The mitzvah of Arava is, Yisoid literally means a base in Nevi'im. The Nevi'im were the ones that created the mitzvah. V'chad Amar. And one says, Arava was minhag Nevi'im, was a minhag of the Nevi'im. Now, what is the difference between Yesoid Nevi'im and minhag of Nevi'im? So look at Rashi. Rashi over here, Rashi's a little higher up on the page in Spek Melamed. Yesoid Nevi'im, takonas Nevi'im achroinim. It was a takana of the latter Nevi'im, which were whom? Chagai, Zachariah, Umalachi. Shahayu, that they were mimeit kanei takonos Yisrael, ba'anshe Knesset Hagedolah. So the Anshe Knesset Hagedolah were the ones that said, do the mitzvah of Arava. Does that sound like a daraisa or a darabanan?
Sounds like a dark one.
Sounds derabanan to me.
So
If-
are derabanan?
Oh, well, what's your question? The VM speak through God. Good question. Good question. We have to see. But on the other side, it sounds like, well, the Nevi'im created it. So, okay. Number two is it's a minog Nevi'im. What is that? Look at the next Rashi. What is minhag? Correct. But what does it mean? It sounds no. Well, it sounds like if you hold it through Soy Nevi'im, that Chages Chayv Anachi created it. It would sound like they created it. They can't create something that's a deraisa. A human deraisa means it's come from Basik. So you are right that how do we deal with the whole Nevuah piece, which is an interesting question. But minog is what's a Rashi. Hinhig was a lower level. It was an anaga. But like tiknulam, they didn't make a takana. Now look at the next words in Rashi, a very important Rashi. This Rashi has many ramifications in halacha. Says Rashi, v'nafka mina, what's the difference? Who cares if it's a minhag? Who cares if it's a din? Deloi ba'i bracha. On a minhag, you don't make a bracha. Why? Deleka lemimar, you're not able to say v'si vanu. Because it's just a minhag. Now Rashi throws in ta'afilu that even bichlal loisasur lesa. Loisasur is where the Torah teaches us you have to follow the Rabbanan, which thereby is the $1 million question that all the Rishonim deal with. If the Torah says you have to follow the Rabbanan, so when the Rabbanan says something, isn't every Rabbanan a deraisa now? Because to follow the Rabbanan is a pasuk in the Torah. Good. $1 million kasha, all the Rishonim deal with what that means, but let's not get involved in that. But Rashi's teaching us is the difference between a minhag and a yidin is a bracha. So says the Gemara, what is arava? Either it's a minhag or it's a din, either it's a derabanan or it is a minhag, which would be a lower level. We'll stop over here and we're gonna tomorrow have to figure out the $1 million kasha, which is how is it a derabanan? We just finished saying, where did Rava come from? Halach l'Moshe Sinai. Rav Yochanan said, Halach l'Moshe Sinai. 1 second, Itzmar, who were the two people that just spoke? Rav Yochanan and Rav Yeshua ben Levi. So one holds minog and one holds yisoid. 1 second. But Rav Yochanan holds it's a deraisa. That's going to be tomorrow's discussion.
It's just how we know it.
No, well, that right now the Gemara is seemingly saying it's not a deraisa, which is going to be the kasha tomorrow in the bottom of the oven. Even nachleser, correct. So that's going to be the kasha tomorrow. The Gemara is going to say, "Whoa, what's going on over here? I thought we held it to deraisa." That will be tomorrow. Let's stop over here and let's get chazara going in Mirza Hashem.